So my video got cut off. How interesting. Now it's going to be a part 2 video. How fun is that? But anyway, back to where I was saying. The suspicions gradually lowered, mainly due to the fact when Barry went to the future, both Julian and HR were both seen. HR being a famous author. And, hang on for a sec. Sorry about that. But anyway, HR, famous author, and Julian apparently works for, I think it was like that one prison, and he's personally trying to find a cure for Killer Frost. And apparently Savitar was indeed captured in the future, put into like a Speed Force trap or something like that. And Future Barry, according to him, got this trap by a scientist lady who unfortunately did not come up with this trap until 4 years after Savitar killed Iris. But that's the thing though, in the future Savitar was in fact captured and both HR and Julian are still around. So obviously the suspicions of them being Savitar have gradually lowered. But what I thought was curious was what happened to future Wally. And I'll also tie in this with present day Killer Frost's reaction when she saw Savitar unmasked. Our Barry did in fact find out from future Killer Frost that she knows Savitar. And she even admitted to our Barry, present day Barry, that when she first became Killer Frost, which is like literally that present day, Savitar approached her and she found out who he was. She didn't reveal who he was, she just told them, you're gonna be very surprised. And it is true because by the end of the episode, again, Killer Frost was in fact approached by Savitar and he did reveal who he was to get to get Killer Frost to trust him, which she immediately did, right? The moment she saw his face, she was shocked. You could see her face. She was obviously shocked. But that shock factor, like, went away after, like, maybe, 2 minutes? Probably even less. And she's like, what do you need me to do? So, obviously, it's someone that she was willing to trust immediately after seeing the person's face. But what I thought was very interesting was future Wally. Because apparently, in the future, after Iris died, Wally, in a fit of rage, went after Savitar and tried to fight him, right? And apparently Joe ended up fighting him the next day with a shattered spine. But not only does he have a shattered spine and he's in a wheelchair, for some reason, during his fight with Savitar, whatever Wally saw or experienced left him pretty much catatonic. Because not only was he was paralyzed because of the shattered spine, he's in a wheelchair. No emotion, nothing. He's literally catatonic. He's literally like this. Just nothing. No, expressionless, nothing. Hasn't moved, doesn't say a word, nothing. And so, according to future Cisco, whatever future Wally witnessed when he fought Savitar put him in a catatonic shock, right? And so that's what makes me curious. Like, who could Savitar possibly be that, to the point where the moment Killer Frost saw Savitar, immediately trusts Savitar, joins up with Savitar, and whoever Savitar is, the moment Wally's battle with Savitar left him shocked and catatonic. And a lot of people are thinking maybe the reason why Killer Frost trusted Savitar when he was unmasked, a lot of people think that it might be Ronnie Raymond. Remember, Ronnie is Caitlyn's husband, who was the first person to bond with Professor Stein and become Firestorm. And remember in the season premiere, what was it? Was it season 2? I believe it was season 2. Firestorm went to go help Barry close the, I'm not gonna say portal, but close that giant-ass breach in the sky. And while he was doing that, Firestorm pretty much split. Barry was able to rescue Professor Stein, but Ronnie was pretty much lost and presumed dead, right? And a lot of people think that maybe the person in Savitar's suit is in fact Ronnie. There are two reasons why people are thinking this. One, well, technically three, if you think about it. Like, one of the reasons was Ronnie was presumed dead, killed during that whole trying to save everyone from the giant hole in the freaking sky, right? So he's assumed dead. But in all honesty, he's assumed dead, not like confirmed dead. He's just assumed dead to most people. The second reason was the fact that how fast Caitlyn trusted Savitar and joined Savitar's side. She just saw his face, got shocked for like 2 minutes, and said, "What do you need me to do?" Immediately. And we all have witnessed, even Caitlyn as Killer Frost always has somewhat of a soft spot for Ronnie. Because remember in Earth 2, when we first encountered Killer Frost, it was Earth 2. And the only person she really trusted was evil Ronnie. Earth 2 Ronnie. And so, who was, I think, called Deathstorm at the time. And, if I remember correctly, Earth 2, they're not Firestorm, it's Deathstorm, and Professor Stein's voice was, like, pretty much gone from Ronnie. He's like, he even confirmed that in Earth 2. He's like, "Oh, Professor Stein, yeah, I haven't heard his voice in a very long time." Yeah. But anyway, so even as Killer Frost, the only person she ever trusted was Ronnie. And, another thing that someone pointed out on the internet where, do you remember when, Professor Stein was separated from Ronnie for a while? Like, Ronnie was presumed dead, and he was becoming unstable, and he needed someone to, bond with to become Firestorm. That's why, they were looking for another half of Firestorm, and they ended up with Jax. Remember that? They ended up with, like, 2 candidates, and then Jax ended up being the guy bonded to Professor Stein. Remember that one moment, though, where he was becoming unstable, and literally Professor Stein was kind of, like, on fire, like, his hands and his head was on fire, but instead of the normal, like, reddish, orange, yellowish flame, the flame was, like, blue. You remember that? That was, in the comics, the sign of Deathstorm, which was the name of Earth 2 Ronnie, and, they think it's Ronnie. Why I'm saying this about the blue flame is because if you notice Savitar's suit, you see it's glowing blue inside the suit, right? So they think that maybe it's, the blue fire from Ronnie because he's been separated from Stein and maybe he's unstable now and he has the blue flames, right? Just like Stein did. So, that was another prediction, which I thought was like, okay, I could see that, like, it happened with Stein when he got separated from Ronnie, right? He turned blue flamed and blue flamo and everything. Maybe he did too, because he's away from Stein. And, maybe that suit is able to sustain him from going berserk, right? And, of course, I started believing the whole Ronnie might be Savitar because also the Caitlyn thing. A lot of people like, who else would Killer Frost trust so easily? Only at least, at maximum, 2-minute shock. And then she immediately trusted Savitar when he revealed himself. So, the only person I've ever seen Killer Frost trust, even on Earth 2, was Ronnie. She only ever trusted Ronnie. Yes, Earth 2, yes, the Earth 2 Killer Frost and Ronnie both worked for, what was his name? Zoom. They both worked for Zoom, yes, but they only ever trusted each other at one point, right? And so I believe that. I really did. But like it begs the question. The main thing that makes me think it's not Ronnie, and it's funny because there's so many reasons it could be Ronnie. But at the same time, there's like only one reason for me to believe that it's not Ronnie, and it's kind of like evening out all the other reasons where it could be, and that is because how did Ronnie become a speedster? We've all seen Savitar. He's a speed god, for Christ's sake. How did Ronnie go from half a firestorm to a speed god? How'd he get speed powers? Unless, like, when he went to that giant vortex in the sky, he magically got speed? I don't know. And that very reason's kind of making it even for me when it comes to the whole if it's Ronnie or not. Anyway, some people think it might be Harry Wells. Some people even think that it might be Harry Wells' daughter. The one who's, Jesse Quick. Because remember, Savitar was like, I have plans for you, Jesse Quick. Remember the last time Jesse encountered Savitar, tried to fight him and all that stuff? Savitar literally said out loud to Jesse's face, I have plans for you, Jesse Quick. What kind of plans? And I know that she went to Earth 3 because, shoot, I forgot his name already. Earth 3's Flash, I forgot his name, the one that looks like Barry's dad. He took Wally's place in the Speed Force. Remember that? Which leaves another candidate who could Savitar be. Some people think that it could be him. Remember our beloved Flash from Earth 3 that took Wally's place in the Speed Force? The one that looks like Barry's dad, whose name? Jay Garrick! Oh my god, there you go. A lot of people think it might be Jay Garrick. And here are some reasons why. One, Jay Garrick's a speedster. And they think it's Jay mainly because, he took Wally's place. And the reason why Wally was in the Speed Force was kind of Barry's fault to begin with. Remember, he's the one that technically created Savitar or something like that. And trapped him in the Speed Force. And in order for Savitar to escape the Speed Force, he needed another speedster to take his place. And the only reason technically Wally became a speedster was because Barry created Flashpoint. And in Flashpoint, Wally was a speedster, right? So technically all of it was Barry's fault. Savitar was Barry's fault. Wally turning into a speedster, I wouldn't say is his fault, but Barry technically was the cause of it because he created Flashpoint. So a lot of people are thinking maybe Jay Garrick was actually Savitar, getting revenge like, you did this, you created Flashpoint, and because of Flashpoint, Wally became a speedster. Because Wally became a speedster and all that stuff. Pretty much like a giant endless cycle, right? And so Savitar went from being... the people being suspicious of being Savitar went from HR and Julian to... And then last week it went to possibly Ronnie. Possibly Jay Garrick. Someone even thought maybe Jesse Quick because of what Savitar said to her when she fought him. I have plans for you, Jesse Quick. And some people even think maybe Harry, Jesse's dad. So, quite frankly, I don't know. But I'm leaning toward Ronnie or Jay. I think, in my honest opinion, judging by Caitlyn's reaction to Savitar's unmasking makes me think possibly it could be Ronnie, because who else would she trust that quickly, even as Killer Frost? And I'm leaning toward Jay because of future Wally. Remember, he was catatonic after his experience with Savitar. Maybe he saw Savitar unmask, and maybe he saw that it was Jay. And then remember, Jay traded himself for Wally. So maybe seeing Jay be Savitar made him so guilty because he became Savitar because he traded spots with Wally, right? Maybe that's why he's catatonic. He's like, oh my god, Jay turned into Savitar because he switched places with me in the Speed Force and became evil and wants revenge, right? So that, I possibly thought that too. And I also maybe thought maybe Killer Frost saw Jay Garrick also. Maybe. But in all honesty, between Jay Garrick and Ronnie Raymond, Killer Frost would trust Ronnie Raymond more, right? So that is my prediction. I think that Savitar is either Ronnie Raymond or Jay Garrick. This is all judging by Killer Frost's reaction to the unmasking and future Wally's catatonic state when he went against Savitar in the future. But anyway, that's my prediction. Tell me in the comments who you think it is. Bye, BooTube.